is another wine source from White Hawk Vineyard in Los Alamos. Central Coast Group Project's 2012 names Syrah. The first time that I met winemaker Scott Sampler was February 8th, 2014. Scott still had Syrah cold soaking in bins in his winery that had not been pressed yet. His 2013 harvest still wasn't over in February. He pulled back the plastic covers and I was intoxicated by the aromas. And then we tasted from the barrels and I realized that he was onto something. That wine in the barrel is what we are tasting today. He believes that he's probably the only winemaker anywhere doing this. 2012 was Scott's first vintage with this wine label, and this is his first time on a wine panel. So thank you so much, Scott, for debuting your wines with us. Well, Scott, tell us about this unique, labor-intensive way of making wine.
I wouldn't say that I'm the only person doing long macerations, post-fermentation macerations, but now I'm doing 6-month, 7-month macerations, and those are a little bit unusual. A lot unusual for red Rhone varietals and just about any varietals. It's pretty unique in California. There's some crazy Italian winemakers that I've liked over the years, and that's kind of where I started, where I got the idea to really experiment with this. I kind of like to say that my grandmother taught me how to make wine, because it's like cooking sauce. It's like something that you can understand after fermentation. You stir and taste, and as the flavors develop over time, then you develop structure and depth and balance, and then you press. So 2 weeks before the harvest in 2012, I didn't have a project. The first project that I was in just fell apart, and I didn't have any grape sources, and I didn't have any place to make the wines. And so I started telling people, and people like Michael Warner, who I was getting fruit from previously, actually stepped in and figured out a way for me to get fruit. And at White Hawk, fortunately it was a bumper crop in 12, some vineyard managers were able to kind of like sculpt areas out of sold out vineyards, where I could get the fruit. And White Hawk was definitely one of my favorite vineyards. I'm kind of a younger, well, not in age, but in experience, winemaker, and I've been going to Silver Lake Wines when it opened, and there's this cool guy, George, used to be the sommelier at Campanile, the classic restaurant in LA, and he had this dead vintage of White Hawk wines. I mean, it was a dead label, which was, they had made a estate wine, but stopped making it. So they had these old vintages, 2000, 2002, 2001, and I was tasting these in 2010, and I thought the fruit was amazing, and it kind of had the structure and the spice and some of the more savory qualities that I like from the Northern Rhone, but it also had kind of the California sunshine beaming through it. And so then I sought out, when I came up here, I sought out this fruit. It's really hard to find because at that time, I guess Mesa Vineyard Care didn't really even have a website. So I finally found it, and was just lucky that somebody was coming off the vineyard when I made the phone call and got on. And it was kind of like, the reason why I call it the group project is because of the generosity of all these people. I was in a different industry before this, and What really struck me is just how generous the wine culture is in this area, and how generous winemakers are with each other in terms of the knowledge of making wine. And I just feel greatly honored to be up there with my comrades and